It is Super Bowl weekend, and it is another edition of the 12th Horseshoe podcast here on Surge Sports TV and the 12th Horseshoe podcast YouTube channel. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 12th Horseshoe podcast presented by Provo, an Italian eatery, Moonachie, New Jersey. Alongside my partner, Eli Weintraub, Jack Rizzo, here with you on this Friday night as we get set for Super Bowl Sunday, taking place down in New Orleans, Louisiana, this Sunday, 6:30 p.m. over on Fox. Eli, how are you doing today, and how are you feeling about the Super Bowl?
I cannot wait for the Super Bowl to kick off. I'm doing great. We're gonna have a great matchups coming up. I cannot wait for the commercials. Kendrick's at halftime, which I'm sure people are looking forward to. And there's a lot to talk about. We had awards last night. I went to some pretty good people last night, and we got some picks to do for the Super Bowl.
That's right, Eli. Well, before we get to all that, speaking of the Super Bowl being played in New Orleans, the Saints still don't have a head coach. They're still
That's right.
searching for one. It looks like maybe Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore is a potential name there, but they can't interview him until after the Super Bowl. But since Super Bowl staying in New Orleans, he might as well just stay down there after the Super Bowl to interview with
Yeah,
them.
but if they win, yes, he'll go back to celebrate.
Well, maybe we'll just have to see.
We'll see if they win. Let's see. That's the first question.
That's really it's really the only name I can think of. It looks like Mike McCarthy's not getting the job. It doesn't look like Coach Prime is getting the job either.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But let's first start off with the awards night. Actually, well, before that, we had some breaking news today. The NFL officially announced that in 2025 there will be a game played in Dublin, Ireland. The first time they'll be heading to the great country of Ireland to play an NFL game. The Pittsburgh Steelers will be the home team. We do not know who they will be playing yet, but it's rumored that the Green Bay Packers will be the team that they'll be taking on over in Dublin in 2025.
I'm just getting sick and tired of these international games. I mean, we went from Mexico to Germany to London to now Dublin, and it's getting too much, I think, in my opinion. I mean, it's great for the NFL. They're trying to expand globally, but for us, the NFL fans, there could be earlier watch times or late starts. That's the bottom line.
I'm honestly okay with this one specifically because Ireland's one of the most popular countries for the NFL outside of the United States. And considering that college football has already played a couple of games over in Dublin, they had College Game Day there last year. So this one I can understand. Like, I don't really want them to go to we know they're going to Australia in 2026. I don't really think that's necessary. I don't want to see them go expand in other countries, but maybe some of these like European countries I think is okay because that's where the NFL is actually pretty popular. It's definitely
regardless to expand globally anywhere is fine, but I'm getting annoyed because like for someone like on the Pacific Coast time where you have to watch the games even earlier, like for example the Germany and London games, they're at 9:30 in the morning East Coast time, which means at 6 o'clock, if not a little earlier, down in the West Coast time. That is unfair to those people. And
to be fair though, Eli. To be fair, though, it actually does kind of even out because, for example, the West Coast has an advantage with Sunday Night Football, all the prime time because they're at 5 o'clock over there versus the East Coast where they're at 8 o'clock and not everyone can stay up to watch them. So it kind of balances out, I would say, in terms of.
It does balance out, but the bottom line is, though, it's a lot of games.
Here's what I would do.
Okay.
Five games a year. 5 games a year. Play them wherever you want, but only 5 a year. Don't have not 10 a year, not 15 a year. 5 games a year. Play them wherever. Play them in Ireland.
Yeah, but we just had 5 this year, and there were like 3 in London, 1 in Germany, and 1 in Brazil.
That's fine. You can only have the Jaguars play in London. That's fine, or have one other game in London. Go to Germany. Go to Ireland. Go to China for all we care. Go to Australia. Go to South Africa. Go to Italy. Whatever.
But my bottom line is, I think it's getting too out of hand with these international games. I get your point. I just think that it's getting out of hand too much, and for people on the West Coast, I feel for you. And especially even on the East Coast with some of these times that they're going to be coming out with.
I don't feel for you on the West Coast because you get Sunday Night Football at 5 o'clock versus we get at 8 o'clock. So it balances out.
All right.
Sorry, West Coast people, but that's just how I feel.
Agree to disagree. Yeah.
All right. Next up, let's talk about the awards tonight. We certainly had a lot of awards. We'll go through them one by one. We will start off. Where do we want to start off with? We'll start off with the rookies of the year. So the offensive rookie of the year, no surprise here. It's Jaden Daniels, the quarterback.
I picked it right.
Commanders. What?
I picked it right.
You did pick it right. I forgot who I picked for offensive rookie of the year. I don't even know who I picked.
I got my results here.
I think I picked Marvin Harrison, but I'm not sure.
But
you have my picks there too?
I don't have yours. I just have mine because you didn't send me yours.
Okay. I might have mine somewhere, but
okay.
Jane Daniels was the winner. Again, no surprise there.
100% deserved. Well deserved.
I beg to differ. I think someone else maybe deserved it a little bit more, but I have no problem with Jane Daniels winning.
You see, I think you cannot underestimate his bio for Jaden Daniels. To say that you just brought your team to the conference championship, you had a miracle happen in the Bears game. You pulled off one heck of a Hail Mary miracle, and you had one heck of a season with a winning record, had a chance to potentially win the division. That is an epic rookie of the year milestone. Brock Bowers has no competition to what Jaden Daniels had this season, and well deserved that MVP for offensive rookie of the year for sure.
Here's the thing, though, Eli. If Jaden Daniels went out in the first round of the playoffs, would he still have deserved the award if he went one and done in the playoffs?
I would say yes, because that would be an epic
Well,
comeback to
well,
turn around.
remember, Eli. There's not really an answer to that question because remember, offensive rookie of the year is only a regular season award. The postseason really
That is
doesn't
right.
matter. So,
100%. I agree with that. But I just still think,
okay, good.
regardless of first round exit, I think he's still offensive rookie of the year, considering what kind of a season that he had leading up to week 18. That was a winning season. And you cannot underestimate that. And you had one heck of a resume to go with it. I mean, there was no question Brock Bowers had no competition to what Jaden Daniels has done.
I will say, Eli, though, the reason why I say Brock Bowers deserved it more is because Brock Bowers he broke multiple rookie receiving records for tight ends,
Okay.
receptions, receiving yards. Like Jaden Daniels had a great year, but he didn't break any records. So
Right.
that,
But
for my reason, and here's the other thing too. Baker Mayfield had a better rookie season in 2018 than Jaden Daniels did this year, and he didn't win the award. It went to Saquon Barkley. So, my personal opinion, I think Brock Bowers should have won. But again, I have no issue with Jaden Daniels winning. He had a fantastic season. Just my personal opinion, I think it's a fair one too. I think a lot of people would agree with me that Brock Bowers, I think, just a little bit deserved it more.
I think maybe a lot. Comment down on the show if you are watching. Feel free to comment. Let us know. What do you think? Do you think Brock Bowers deserves it or Jaden Daniels? But to me, I think that Brock Bowers, yes, he had some record accomplishments and stuff. That's great and all, but in the NFL, it's about winning games. It's about creating great moments, showing leadership, showing all kinds of stuff. And that's what exactly all kinds of things that Jaden Daniels accomplished. And that were some of those traits I didn't see in Brock Bowers as I did in Jaden Daniels.
Well, what I will say, Eli, I don't agree with you on the winning games perspective because, for example, Garrett Wilson 2 years ago, the Jets had a losing record. He won the award. Saquon Barkley, when he won it, the Giants had 5 wins that year and he won the award. I think my opinion, it comes down more to individual performance. I think this is because of the fact of the dramatic turnaround that Washington had, which, yes, Jaden Daniels was a huge part of that, but he wasn't the only one who had a major part in this turnaround. He was certainly
That is
part of
100%.
it. But yeah,
Big part of it, I believe.
I think it's a fair disagreement though to have it. I'm glad I think we both understand each other and why we disagree. But I think overall though, no, I'm happy for Jaden Daniels that he won it. He definitely deserved it. I just think there was one player maybe deserved it a little bit more, but we beg to differ. Okay, let's move on to defensive rookie of the year. Now this award, there weren't too many great defensive rookies in the league this year, but ended up going to Jared Verse of the Los Angeles Rams. I definitely think he deserved this award.
Yeah.
I don't really care what the stats say. He was a beast this year for the Rams.
Absolutely.
I know he only had 4.5 sacks on the year, but he had two forced fumbles, 2 passes defended, 11 tackles for a loss. Pro Bowler as well. I think he definitely deserved this award. His teammate Braden Fisk gave him a good run for his money, but I think this is a well-deserved award for Jared Verse. He was just a force on that defensive line all year long.
A 100% well-deserved award for him. I think he played fantastic. He had a great run, and like you said, Jack, there was no other competition this year, and I think in terms of defensive rookie of the year was not as close as like the other categories. So I think that right move went to Jordan Bears.
Who did you have for your defensive rookie of the year in your preseason picks?
Defensive rookie, I had Liatu.
Oh, so did I.
Mm-hmm.
He's the Colts rookie. He actually had a good season. He was okay. He actually had this.
He had an okay season, not the best spot.
But another problem too is that the Colts didn't use him enough, and that's why he didn't get very many snaps. The Rams plugged Jared Verse right away, and he was a wrecking force.
Right.
Next up, let's talk about. We'll do comeback player of the year next. This went to Joe Burrow.
I was right about the quarterback, except it wasn't Drew Lock and the Giants.
I was right about the quarterback too, and I had Joe Burrow winning an award. I had him winning MVP. Right. Which, to be fair, he got MVP votes. He was in the conversation, and you could argue that he should have won it. Maybe if the Bengals made the playoffs, he probably would have won it. Let's be honest here.
And if they had a winning season, absolutely.
Well, they did have a winning season. They just didn't make the playoffs.
Well,
they were 9-8.
Not in the beginning. It didn't seem like that. It was great team, great chemistry.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
That's what I'm more referring to. Comeback player of the year. I mean, congrats to Joe on getting it, but what's the comeback?
Injury.
I guess the injury, but
that's what the award's for, though, Eli. So you have to understand in that context.
But
like Sam Darnold can't be comeback player of the year. What is he coming back from? trash? Is that really what he's coming back from? He was a comeback player of the year is supposed to be a award for someone who was good, had a setback, and then came back and was good again. Sam Darnold was never good until this year. So that's why if you're wondering why he didn't win the
but Joe
award,
Flacco,
that's
though,
why.
he didn't have no injury leading up to his run and award last year.
That's true, but like he was a great quarterback though at one point in time.
No
Became
question.
a backup and then came back and won. So that's why it's a harder word to understand. I get that, but that's ultimately why though.
Yeah,
that's
but
really that's the best I can explain it, Eli. But I understand though why you're confused, why Burrow won it. That's a perfectly reasonable confusion to have because honestly, I didn't understand this word for a while either. So it's perfectly understandable that you disagree. Okay. Let's next do our two. We'll do the Walter Payton Man of the Year next. So this went to Eric Armstead of the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is probably the most prestigious award. Just being recognized for your service to your community. And this award, there's never a wrong choice because all 32 of the nominees are outstanding choices. And Eric Armstead, he was big on helping school kids and helping them. So I'm really happy for him. Walter Payton Man of the Year, such a prestigious award to win, honoring the legacy of the great Walter Payton. So congrats to Eric Armstead on winning that award.
Yeah, congrats on that. And the only other thing I want to say to the NFL is, can we have like consolation prizes or maybe give them an award just for their hard work and dedication? Does it have to be that one person? Can it be like a Hall of Fame where you get like a bunch of people, they all get that one award, or, just saying.
Well, now you say Hall of Fame, Eli, let's next talk about the 2025 Hall of Fame class. Now, in terms of the 15 that were, wait, I'll just say them first, Eli, before we're gonna have a lot of disagreements here, or maybe we'll actually be together in these disagreements. But there were 15 nominees on the ballot, and only 3 of those 15 got into the Hall of Fame. Jared Allen, the former defensive end, he absolutely deserved it. I'm happy about
one
him.
Question.
Very, very good. Happy about that. Antonio Gates, one of the best tight ends of all time, most touchdowns all time for a tight end. He definitely deserved to get in as well.
Yeah.
I think that was a very good
pickup. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. He should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer in my opinion. But
Eric Allen was part of it as well.
Eric Allen was on there. He was Eric Allen was on there, former defensive back. I guess he deserved it, but I would have picked other people.
Yeah,
and then also from the veterans committee, Sterling Sharp got in. I am so happy for that. That was long overdue. He would have gone down as maybe like one of the 5 greatest receivers of all time if it weren't for injury, and even still, he's one of the best of all time. So really happy about that.
You see, for me, how I look at this.
No, Eli. Go ahead and tell me who you think the snubs were this year, or who out of the 4 were there any that you don't think deserve to get in?
Yeah, I think that Eli Manning should have been in it and not Eric Allen. That is my take. I think Eric.
Well, here's the thing, Eli. Eli Manning could have gone in with Eric Allen. It's not like Eric Allen replaced. Remember, you could have 5 players get in from the 15 committee. They only chose 3 because only 3 got enough votes. So Eli Manning wouldn't have to replace anybody. But go ahead, carry on.
I think I really think that Eli Manning deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he did lead the Giants to Super Bowl wins. He defeated Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, which is not, it's very hard to do and say that, oh wow, I just beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. So I 100% think that right now Eli Manning deserved it. He provided so much for this Giants team. He deserved to get in. The fact he didn't was disappointing. That's who I think we should have been in, 100%.
There are multiple players, Eli, that I think we're stumped to discuss. I think Eli was definitely one of them. I mean, keep in mind, we can talk about the Super Bowls, but he's also top 10 all time in both passing yards and passing touchdowns. So he is, by statistically, one of the 10 best quarterbacks of all time. And if a guy like Troy Aikman with way worse numbers is a first ballot Hall of Famer, you've got to allow Eli to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
There's no reason he should not have been a first ballot, but it is what it is. You know who else was snubbed, Eli? Adam Vinatieri, the leading scorer in the NFL. I don't care if he's a kicker. He literally has scored the most points in the history of the NFL, the greatest 100%. Kicker of all time. How does a player who's the greatest at his position of all time not a first ballot Hall of Famer? That blows my mind. Another player who was snubbed, again, this blows my mind that he keeps getting snubbed, but Reggie Wayne of the Indianapolis Colts, a guy who was top 10 all time in receptions and receiving yards. I'm not sure how much you know about Reggie Wayne, Eli, but trust me, he was one of the best receivers, not only of the 21st century, but one of the best receivers in NFL history. And the fact he's not in yet is crazy.
It's crazy.
And one more player I think was snubbed, Luke Kuechly, the former linebacker of the Carolina Panthers. I know his prime was kind of short. It was really, though, he was great up until he retired. One of the best linebackers of the 21st century. And I really think he should have been in too. And same with Terrell Suggs. How did Terrell Suggs not make it on the first ballot? Eli, this really made me mad. I know there were a lot of great names on the ballot, but there were many players, in my opinion, who were snubbed.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And yeah, I think just the top one that stood out to me was Eli Manning. I know there's a lot more on the list, but Eli Manning was the top one for me.
Yeah. Next up, let's go to our coach of the year. The coach of the year in the NFL this year was Kevin O'Connell of the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, people might disagree with me. I agree with this. I'm sorry.
I agree.
I agree with Kevin
100%.
O'Connell. It should not have been Dan Campbell. What did
Correct.
Dan Campbell? The Lions technically regressed this year. They didn't go as far in the playoffs. And Kevin O'Connell took a team. Remember, we had someone. I'm not going to say names. But we had someone on our show before the season say the Vikings were going to win 2 games this year, and
Gee.
yeah, they had. Now the 2 is right in one aspect. They had losses to 2 teams all year. They lost to the Lions and they lost to the Rams. But the Vikings went 14-3 with Sam Darnold as their starting quarterback. And Eli, this really blew my mind how amazing the Vikings played. Kevin O'Connell absolutely deserved this, Eli. And now with JJ McCarthy coming back and being their starter in 2025, the future could not be any brighter for the Minnesota Vikings than it is right now. So 100% deserved for Kevin O'Connell.
100% well deserved for Kevin O'Connell. And yes, I did pick Dan Campbell to win it, but you cannot argue. Kevin O'Connell had one heck of a run, one heck of a season. And the way he turned this Vikings team around was incredible. And to make it into the playoffs was fantastic to see. Kevin O'Connell, 100% well deserved.
I will say my pick before the season was Jonathan Gannon of the Cardinals. It wasn't the best pick, but the Cardinals improved a lot this year. They went from 4 wins to 8 wins, so I would consider that a pretty big improvement. And I think the Cardinals are going to have a good 2025. I think they're going to be a solid team. I think the Rams might regress a little bit with Stafford getting a little older. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just being crazy, but I think the Cardinals might have a better 2025. And also, though, Eli, I will say I think Dan Quinn was underrated in this process. He took the Commanders to 12 wins in his first year as a coach.
Yeah, but I don't know if he had the season like Kevin O'Connell. I think Kevin O'Connell stood out more, really delivered more. I think Kevin O'Connell well deserved it. I don't think that Dan Quinn was definitely in the conversation. Don't get me wrong. I just think Kevin O'Connell
wait.
had to be the right one.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Eli. So you're saying that Washington's incredible season is more attributed to Jaden Daniels than it is to Dan Quinn, right? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know. I think it's a fair point to make. I think Dan Quinn had a big impact on it too.
He did have a big impact, but not as big as what Kevin O'Connell did this year.
Certainly on the defense, though, Dan Quinn did. I mean,
that is 100% correct.
Washington's defense was the worst in the NFL in 2023, and they were one of the better ones in 2024. So I think that was a huge reason why. I think the culture he built there in Washington. But yeah, I think that's a fair point, though, totally. All right, next up, offensive and defensive player of the years. The offensive player of the year went to Saquon Barkley. Of course, that was
no question.
Probably lock. That was probably the lock of the night. 2,000-yard rusher. So happy for Saquon that he's away from the Giants, that he's with a winning organization now. I had Amon-Ra St. Brown winning this award, which isn't a bad pick. He had a great season, but Saquon was just on another level. And Eli, how about you?
I mean, there's no question. He deserved it. And if he wins the Super Bowl, he's absolutely going to Disney World and he's going to get that MVP. No question. Hacks there.
So who did you have winning Offensive Player of the Year?
I had Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce. Okay, that's not a bad pick. But he
did not have that year.
Yep. I don't think he's the best tight end in the NFL anymore either, unfortunately. I think George Kittle
let's see what happens.
I think George Kittle and Brock Bowers have both overtaken him.
I agree with. I don't know about Brock Bowers, but definitely,
definitely not Mark Andrews.
Definitely not Mark Andrews. But I think it comes down to George Kittle and him. I think George Kittle is better, but again, let's see what happens in the Super Bowl. I mean, again, Super Bowls play a big impact. I think in my book.
Defensive Player of the Year went to Patrick Surtain II. First defensive back to win MVP or to win DPOY since Stephon Gilmore in 2019. Pat Surtain was a beast, Eli, this year. I think he was the right choice, but I think Zach Bond of the Eagles was underrated in this. He had a phenomenal season for the Eagles, and Trey Hendrickson was also underrated. But I'm fine with Surtain winning. It was close. I think it's the right choice, but I think the other nominees should have been considered more heavily. In my opinion.
That's a fair point, but I think a great pick.
Who was your Defensive Player of the Year pick?
Davon Witherspoon.
Oh, that wasn't a great pick.
I know that, Jack.
My pick was Max Crosby, who suffered an injury and ultimately did not win. But I was happy with Max Crosby, though, as my pick, though, to be honest. Yes. So, and then finally, the Most Valuable Player of the Year award, it went to Josh Allen. Listen,
deserved 100% well deserved.
I am happy.
It was a matter of time. I'm sorry.
I am happy that Josh Allen won. First time he won the MVP. That's great for him. That's great for him. That's great for his new fiance, Haley. I think that's her name, Haley Steinfeld. I think that's who she is. It's great for them. But listen, though, I think, just my opinion, that Lamar Jackson deserved it more. He had the better stat. He He did. He had more touchdowns. He had less interceptions. He had more rushing yards. Lamar was the better player.
Okay,
Sorry,
here's
it's
what
the
I
truth.
disagree with. He won it last year, and I don't think he deserved it again. I think Josh Allen had that kind of a year this regular season. I mean, was it the best? No, I wouldn't say the best, but I mean, he definitely had a great year. I think out of all the candidates, it was between Lamar and him, but I think Josh Allen delivered it this year. And
I,
obviously, it came all down to that Chiefs game. And if it wasn't for the Chiefs, Buffalo's would be in the Super Bowl.
yeah. Well, here's the thing, Eli. I understand with wanting to give it to new people, Eli, but that's just not how it works. The MVP goes to the best player in the NFL for a season. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter
but
if they won.
Lamar Jackson did not have that type of season, though.
He did. Have you looked at his stats, Eli?
Yeah,
Let's
that's
look
his
at
stats, but not exactly like if you go to the game. I mean, I don't know.
that. What do you mean if you go to the game, Eli?
Not
I
go
don't
to the game.
understand. Lamar Jackson had 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
Yeah,
this
I get that.
year.
I
And
understand.
he also had let's see his rushing
But
yards.
compared to what he did last year and the way he stood out this year, I didn't see him stand out. Like,
Wait. Lamar Jackson was way worse the year before 2023 than he was this year. He actually had a better season this year than he did last year.
I don't know. I just think Josh Allen was well deserved.
Like
And
2023, 2023 shouldn't have been Lamar. It should have been Christian McCaffrey. That's my
Yeah,
opinion.
fair point.
But here's the thing, though. We can't make that argument because Peyton Manning won 5 MVP awards throughout his career. And I'm sure people got tired of him winning, but he was just the best quarterback in the league every year, and he just kept
That's
winning
true.
it. So, Peyton Manning won 5. So that's just my opinion. But, hey, congrats to Josh Allen on winning it. Although I still think Joe Burrow also kind of deserved MVP a little bit. Just my opinion.
No.
Just my opinion.
They get another award, so you cannot complain about that.
And Saquon. Saquon should have got more votes,
Oh,
too.
Saquon should have got it, but that's a different argument for a different day.
All right, well, anyways, let's get to our Super Bowl picks. It is the Chiefs and the Eagles for the second time in 3 years down in New Orleans, Louisiana. This Super Bowl is taking place on Saquon Barkley's birthday and on Cooper DeJean's birthday. How funny is that?
Wow.
But
the
anyway,
point spread 1.5 Kansas City.
Not surprising. Kansas City absolutely should be the favorite. They've won.
But a lot of people have been picking Chiefs from what I'm hearing and, from what I'm seeing. It's been impressive the amount of Chiefs votes. But who do we choose? That's the question.
Well, because the script is saying that the Chiefs are going to win again. So, of course, everyone's going to pick the Chiefs.
Eagles, they've been picking. Eagles.
Oh, Eagles. Okay. They're wrong. Oh, I guess I just leaked my pick. They're wrong.
So just release it, Jack.
Yeah, they're wrong. Listen, I think the Chiefs are simply matching up better with the Eagles. I don't really care how it looks on paper, Eli. We know the Chiefs are going to find a way to win. They always find a way to win. Of course they do. Andy Reid is one of the greatest coaches in NFL history. As much as we want to hate on Patrick Mahomes, we are witnessing greatness right now. He has the chance to become the first ever quarterback to three-peat in a Super Bowl. He's already has 3 championships, going for number 4. And listen, Eli, the Chiefs defense is Chiefs defense is the best in the NFL, Eli. I don't care what anyone says. The Kansas City Chiefs have the best defense in the NFL. And why do I say that? Because they have maybe the best defensive coordinator other than Bill Belichick, Steve Spagnuolo. So I think the Chiefs are going to get a lot of pressure on Jalen Hurts. Again, we don't know if Jalen Hurts is 100%. He had that knee injury earlier in the playoffs.
That's right.
So we don't know if he's 100%. The Chiefs are going to shut down Saquon Barkley. Patrick Mahomes is going to do enough through the air. I think the Chiefs are going to rely on their run game, though, because remember, Jalen Carter is dealing with an illness, so he might not be 100%. I think the Chiefs are going to rely on their run game. I think Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt are both going to have big games. And you know what? I'm going to say they both rush for a touchdown in this game, Eli. And I think ultimately the Chiefs hold off the Eagles and win. They three-peat the Super Bowl. They become the greatest team in NFL history, and they win 24-16 down in New Orleans with Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady on the call. It's like a Tom Brady passing of the torch moment.
All right. Well, I've been debating about my score pick all week. I'm picking Kansas City to win the Super Bowl because I think they're the bottom line, the best team. Now, I've been debating all week. I feel that they were going to go over 30 points because there was like 2 or 3 games maybe all season that they made it over 30 points. And that was, I think, the Buffalo Bills, one of them, and I think Carolina was the other game. I'm just concerned that it's going to be super close because that's like what the Chiefs like to do. And I think it might just go over 30 points. I know I've been debating it all week, but I think it's going to go over 30. So I'm going to take Kansas City 36-34. The Chiefs go for a three-peat, and there'll be a party, Mardi Gras style, in New Orleans.
Well, Eli, so that's a similar score to what the first Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl was. I could certainly see that happening, and it's going to be a great game regardless, Eli. Now, before we wrap up here, so the Chiefs are winning. Who is your Super Bowl MVP for Super Bowl 59?
If it's all right, I'll give both my picks. If it's the Chiefs, I think it's Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
If it's the Eagles, Saquon Barkley.
Okay. Well, here's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to disagree with you on the Chiefs. I'm sorry. Listen, we know Patrick Mahomes is probably going to win it, but I don't want to be boring. Okay, I don't want to be boring. I want to go with something a little bit different. Let's actually go with somebody on the defensive side of the ball. And I'm going to give you the stats too. Let's go with 13 total tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 1 interception, and 1 forced fumble. The 2020, the Super Bowl 59 MVP for the Kansas City Chiefs will be Nick Bolton. That is my Super Bowl MVP pick for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he's going to be a huge disruptor on the defensive side of the ball. I think he's going to handle.
I don't know about MVP though.
I think remember, Eli, Seattle, the only Super Bowl Seattle won, their MVP was Malcolm Smith, a linebacker. So I think that it's going to be a linebacker. I want to be a little bit different.
That's why too.
What?
It was a safety.
For Seattle, no. Malcolm Smith was a linebacker. He wasn't a safety.
I'm just saying it was a safety when it happened.
What do you mean a safety when it happened?
His first play of the game was a safety, so I guess,
that wasn't him who caused it, though. No, he had a pick 6 in that game.
I know. Well,
but
yeah.
Nick Bolton's the MVP. And for the Eagles MVP, I'm going to go with, sorry, Saquon. I'm going to go with A.J. Brown as my Eagles MVP if he wins. But that is going to do it. I hope everyone enjoys the Super Bowl. Hope everyone stays safe this weekend. We're going to have more nasty weather, but hope everyone stays safe. Enjoy your Super Bowl get-together parties.
Go Chiefs, go Eagles.
Go Chiefs, go Eagles, and go Colts and go Rangers.
Go Seahawks, and go Devils.
We will see you guys next week for our Super Bowl recap. Then it's off-season time. Thank you so much, everyone, for
following
all season.
Goodbye.
We'll see you next